In My Craft or Sullen Art by Dylan Thomas, 1914 to 1953. In my craft or sullen art, exercised in the still night, when only the moon rages and the lovers lie abed with all their griefs in their arms, I labour by singing light, not for ambition or bread, or the strut and trade of charms on the ivory stages, but for the common wages of their most secret heart. Not for the proud man apart from the raging moon I write on these spindrift pages, nor for the towering dead with their nightingales and psalms, but for the lovers, their arms round the griefs of the ages, who pay no praise or wages, nor heed my craft or art. Okay, this is a poem by Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas came from Swansea in Wales. He's probably one of the most famous poets of the 20th century. This poem itself is what they call an ars poetica, a poem that explains how the poet views their work, their reason for working, their reason for being. It's how they think about them, about their work. And in this poem, I think he's saying that poetry should reflect or should speak to the ordinary feelings of ordinary people. It should speak to lovers. It should speak to anybody who has ever loved or anybody who has ever felt grief. Grief is sadness. And this poem is talking about a connection between poetry and emotion and how the two things are joined. But this poem is about why he writes his poetry. It's his reason for doing it. In my craft or sullen art, exercised in the still night, when only the moon rages. So when I create my poetry, it's only done at night, in the quiet of night, when the only thing that is moving, the only thing that doesn't stay still is the moon. So the only thing that you can see is the moon moving slowly, and lovers are lying in bed, and they are holding each other in bed, and they're also holding the things that make them sad. I labour by singing light. I work by the beautiful in beautiful light. And he's not talking about the light of the moon, but the reason that he writes, not for ambition or bread. So I don't write to become famous. I don't write to get rich, or the strut and trade of charms of the ivory stage. I don't write to show how brilliant I am to audiences in fancy theatres. This little bit actually reminds me of the Shakespeare lines that struts and frets his hour upon the stage. So I'm not doing this to show how brilliant I am, not to show off to the people, but for the common wages of their most secret heart. But the reason I do this is for the reward of touching the heart, the secret heart, the innermost heart of these lovers. So I want to touch the ordinary emotions of, or the emotions of these people. I want to connect with the feelings of lovers. I don't want to show to famous people on the stage how brilliant I am. I don't want to get rich. I don't want to become famous. I want to connect with the emotions of lovers. Not for the proud man apart from the raging moon I write. So I don't write for somebody who is too important to be excluded from the raging moon, to be excluded from the feelings of emotions. I don't write for people who are too important to feel emotions. On these spindrift pages, I write on these. Spindrift is blown in the wind, is the ocean spray. So I don't put my ideas on these pages that are blown across the world, across the sea. I don't write them for snobbish people. I don't write them for the towering dead, the grand authors who have died in the past, with their nightingales, Ode to a Nightingale, with their beautiful descriptions of nature, and their psalms, their classic poems about God and nature. I'm not writing these poems for these classic authors of the past, but for the lovers. I'm writing this for these lovers. Their arms round the griefs of ages, so who are holding the sadness of all ages. And these people who pay no praise or wages, nor heed my craft or art. And they don't praise me, they don't give me any money. These lovers, they don't they're not even interested in my art form. But what I want to do is to connect with the emotions, with the grief of ages, with the lovers. So what I'm trying to do is to create a connection between poetry and emotion, and that poetry should speak to the emotions of people, and that's the reason that I write. I want to capture the things that are inside people's heart. I'm not writing for a special audience. I'm not writing for the rich. I'm not writing for the old masters of poetry. I'm writing for anybody who's capable of feeling deeply. I'm trying to connect with them. I'm trying to connect with the hopes of these lovers, the sorrows that go through the ages. I want to be in touch with the hearts of ordinary people, even though I work alone. And he's criticizing worldly ambition. He's criticizing artists who create their art to become famous. And I think he's talking about the purity of art, that art is something pure. In his art, he's rebelling against against the commercial aspect of arts and poetry and things like that. And he's saying that he doesn't write for money. He's writing to connect to ordinary people. In My Craft was Sullen Art by Dylan Thomas.